We'll call the September Board of Education meeting to order. Roll call, Mrs. Worsler.
David Weaver.
Present.
Veronica Sherritt.
Present.
Matthew Robertson.
Here.
Marty Schroeder.
Present.
John Hurd.
Here.
Donald Greenlee is on. Okay. And Riley Martin.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Weaver, a second by Ms. Schroeder to approve the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, please vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the agenda is approved. Board President's report. We'll begin with our celebrations from our student representative, Christian.
So our first celebration will be for Joplin High School's Color Guard. They won a caption award for Best Guard in Class B at the Carl Junction Marching Band competition, and our band made finals. So we have an excellent music program, many bands, many different like sub-programs at the high school, and they all do really well, and I think this is another great example of that. Our second celebration at the high school is for the homecoming stuff that we had going on. So the entire week of homecoming was very successful. We had the parade on Main Street, and that went well. We had a lot of people there. It was a good time. A lot of clubs got to show off what they're about and what they can do, and that's always a great thing. The homecoming game Friday night was exciting as usual, and a lot of students, parents, and even some teachers made it out and enjoyed it as well, and it was a great game. And then our dance was that Saturday, so September 9th, and over 1,000 students showed up to the dance, which is a pretty large number, and it went well as well. We set up that morning, and it was all ready to go for the students. And our last celebration for the high school is the Senior Sunrise, which happened on September 12th. McDonald's, Sonic, Bacon Me Crazy, Super Donuts, Heavenly Donuts, and Bearded Lady Coffee Roasters all donated. They just donated various items, some food, some drinks, and some utensils to help make it possible. Without them, we couldn't have done it, and with their help, we were able to help make sure that the seniors could have another fun event to kick off the sort of last year of their time at the high school. So it went well. The kids had fun. We all enjoyed it, so it was a good time.
Thank you so much, Christian, for the update from Joplin High School. Next is our celebration. Why we're here tonight, a little bit of background. Our goal at the beginning of the year was to be able to get into as many schools as a board and to be able to really listen to what's happening every day here in the buildings in Joplin schools. It's, as a board, in my opinion, it's very important that we know and we hear the people that we work alongside. So I see us as co-workers really in this mission to educate students here in Joplin. And for us to be able to listen to those of you who are on the front line really is invigorating, first and foremost, but also it gives us some really valuable insight. So thank you to everybody who's here tonight and able to give of their time. This is probably not the only thing you had going on, but we certainly are blessed and thankful that you chose to spend some time with us tonight. So Mrs. Faircloth, thank you so much for organizing this.
Absolutely. Good evening. My name is Bree Faircloth, and I am honored to be the principal here at Royal Heights. And so when we were asked to showcase Royal Heights, I was excited because Royal Heights is such a great school and deserves to be highlighted. So we're going to talk a little bit about Royal Heights, and I think as we go through the slides, and I enjoyed taking you all on the tour, because one thing to be able to understand Royal Heights today is to understand the history of Royal Heights. So Royal Heights is almost 107 years old. It started as a 4-room schoolhouse. 2 of those rooms were occupied to start, and then it just continued to grow and grow and grow. Royal Heights suffered a fire in 1950, which changed some things for the school. But as I was doing some research and really trying to understand what Royal Heights is about, one thing that has stayed the same and consistent throughout history, as far back as you can research, is that Royal Heights has a rich tradition of pride. The people in the community right around our school, the neighborhood, is very proud of Royal Heights, and rightfully so. To start off, we'll talk about a little bit of our data. And so starting with third grade ELA, the percentage of students in the advanced categories increased from 5.71% in spring of 2022 to 13.04% in spring of 2023. So great growth there. Third grade math, below basic category, saw a decrease from spring of 2022 of 34.29% to spring of 2023 of 30.43%. So great job there as well. Moving into fourth grade, our ELA on maps saw a decrease in both the below basic and basic categories from spring of 2022 to spring of 2023. And the exciting thing is that the gains were seen in both the proficient and advanced categories at 20.59% and 5.88% to 33.33% and 14.2%. So that is a growth of 12.7% in proficient and 8.4% in advanced. So that is awesome to see that as well. The cohort growth shows a decrease in below basic performance from third grade spring of 2022 of 20% to spring of 2023 to 14%. The cohort growth was seen in the advanced categories from 5.7% to 14.29%. And then for fourth grade math, Royal Heights fourth grade spring of 2022 had 8.82% in the advanced category, and that increased to 14.29% in spring of 2023. So we're very proud of all of that. Moving into fifth grade. Fifth grade ELA, the advanced category went up from spring of 2022. It was at 13.89% to 20.93%. The cohort growth from spring of 22 to spring of 23 was seen by the decrease in basic scores from 55.8% to 44.19%. The advanced category grew from 5.8% in spring as fourth graders to 20.9% as fifth grade students in the spring of 2023. And then fifth grade math, below basic, saw significant decreases. In spring of 2022, we were 44.4% to spring of 2023, 23.26%, sorry. Gains were found in the areas of advance from spring of 22 of 0% to 11.63%. And so the cohort growth in math saw increases in both proficient and advanced categories from spring of 22 with 20.59% and 8.82% advanced to spring of 23 with 25.58% proficient and 11.6% advanced. So great job. Now, we all know and understand that that doesn't just happen easily. There was a lot of hard work that went into that. And so we talk about data as a driving point to our instruction, and we know that that's super important. But the most important thing that we talk about at Royal Heights is our kids. We show up here every day and try to do what is best for kids and work hard for kids. So there's a couple pictures up on the screen. We got some kids with Maple Bar. She's a big part of our school. We love Maple Bar. At the end of the year, like I said, Royal Heights has that community feel, and so we've got kids that are signing shirts and just always together. These kids go from, a lot of them go from kindergarten to fifth grade together, and so that's really neat to watch that. The next slide, same thing. Our kids, you know, they're in classrooms working hard, and they show up every day and they give us the absolute best that they have, and we could not ask for better kids at Royal Heights. We love them immensely. They're the best. That's what we tell them. They are the best. One thing that's unique too to Royal Heights is when you start talking to kids and families, they will tell us like, my grandpa went to Royal Heights, or my cousin, my aunt. There's lots of families that have gone through Royal Heights, so that's something that we're proud of. This picture right here is a picture of most of our staff. There's a few people missing. There's a few people that aren't in the picture that make a lot of things behind the scenes happen. But this staff that we have here at Royal Heights, it does not get any better than them. They show up every day working hard for kids. They love kids, and we're all about doing what's best for kids and not always what's easiest for adults. And just to see them every day work together and push forward for kids, I would put our staff up against any staff across the nation, and I think that we would come out on top. They are that wonderful. So I cannot say enough about them. So our staff, we try to go above and beyond for kids. Miss Gibson she was awarded a WGU grant. I didn't know you guys knew we had Bob Ross as one of our staff members. No, that's two of our 5th grade teachers dressed up for kids for Halloween, and then Miss Ramos, our 4th and 5th grade resource sped teacher with some of her students as well. So. One big part that helps make Royal Heights so successful is our community support, and I talked about that a little bit, about the history. Back when Royal Heights over 100 years ago started, the neighborhood moms would come and serve the first hot lunch for kids, and that support seems to have not ever gone away. So we have a very supportive PTO. Anytime we need anything, we ask for their support, and they're always there to volunteer, and that looks various different ways, but we've never went to the PTO and asked for something and been told that we can't make it happen. So our PTO, they make things happen for us, and we're very appreciative of that. We have a couple business partners. Farm Bureau Insurance, Joe Kim and his insurance company, they've donated meals for our Eagle of the Month students. Missouri Eagle, Quick Trip, WC Transport have all donated money and different things like that to help support the kids here, and so we appreciate them. One big thing that happened for Royal Heights last year is we received a $19,000 donation from Dollar General, which was a big help to our school, and so we were super excited about that. They were the 19,000th store to be built, and they donated $19,000 to us, so big shout out to Dollar General for that. There was a day we got to go celebrate that and then come back and do an assembly with the kids, so that was a fun day. Family and community support, again, we've had Southern football players come, and then the other pictures that I added in there was just to show that anytime we put on an event at Royal Heights, people show up, and they're happy to be here, and they want to be a part of the school, and they love Royal Heights, and we love them and appreciate their support as well. And so there's some pictures of different events that we've hosted over the course of the year. What we care about, it's pretty simple. We care about our kids. We care about celebrating their successes. We care about meeting them where they're at. The first two pictures are our academic all-stars, 4th and 5th grade. That was a great night for those students and families. And then the picture on the left is Miss Fowler, one of our kindergarten teachers, and one of our friends, a little first grader here, and he just keeps us all laughing. So we love those kids dearly. Next slide. So again, we want to celebrate student successes, but we also like to meet them where they're at. We have high expectations for kids, and some days it looks like the top two pictures, and other days it looks, and sometimes we feel that way too, but one good thing about that story is I remember her teacher came down and was like, this was really hard for her, but we pushed through. And so, sometimes it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but we meet kids where they're at, and we're super proud of them, and so when we can celebrate any of their successes, that's the reality of it sometimes, so I wanted to add that picture in there. And then last but not least, I wanted to put on here that we care about our kids and we care about each other. Truly, our staff goes above and beyond. Not only they show up for our kids every day, but they show up for each other. And that is sometimes equally as important, that we're picking each other up and going through each day, and we know that we're not alone and that we're battling through this together as a team. And so those are the things that after you leave Royal Heights, I want you to know we love our kids, we have high expectations, and we love each other. And we're going to continue to push through and continue to be successful. I hope that in 107 years there's a meeting just like this, and people are looking back and talking about the things that we have done here at Royal Heights and for students of Joplin schools. So hopefully that can be a thing that happens in the future.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Do we have any questions for Mrs. Faircloth about Royal Heights? She did a great job sharing with us everything that's happening here. Well, thank you so much. We're
you.
so appreciative. And we know it takes a lot in every day, and like you said, some days look like the kid at the laptop, and other days are the all smiles on the playground. So everything works very well, and I know you have a team here that is committed to kids and moving them forward. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Our next item is our transportation update report. So, as many people know, there have been some issues that have affected students here in Joplin schools in terms of late buses in the district, and I know that our admin team has done a very good job of working hard to really ease this issue. So as this first was brought to my attention, I was able to call I had friends across the state and different districts of similar sizes, and what I found was really alarming. I found that in some districts they are only allowing certain neighborhoods to have bus service on certain days. Some are doing triple routes, and some are just saying you're going to have to find your own way based upon your zip code. I'm thankful that we're not doing that in Joplin, and it's not where we're headed. But we also know that there are areas that we need to improve upon. So I asked the administration, after visiting with numerous board members, to really put together action steps to solve this problem. And we know that this is not happening tomorrow, but we also know that we are on the way to being successful in improving driver retention as we tackle this issue the Joplin way, as it is still a national issue. So right now, currently we have 37 full-time bus drivers. We have 7 part-time bus drivers, 4 sub-drivers. We have 6 in training, 5 in pre-training. The goal at the end of the day is to add full-time drivers to reach 46 full-time drivers and 7 part-time drivers to reach 51 full and part-time drivers for our routes here in Joplin. Also, we know that we have to do a better job of recruiting, retaining, and hiring bus drivers so we can reach 110% capacity here in Joplin. And we know that there's always going to be a lot of moving parts to this, and my hat's off to Matt Harding and his team and everybody who works getting our kids to and from school every day safely. And we know that the vast majority of our days are that happens. So those are the unsung heroes in the room. You know, it's easy sometimes to sit around a table and talk about certain things, and there's certain ways that we should do things, but there are people who are out there working their tails off every day to get our kids safely to school and on time and in good learning environments, and to not sacrifice that instructional time. So as we look forward to training, what does that mean? One, we're going to enlist Crowder College bus training program in times of need to help us really put our foot on the gas, for lack of a better term, to be able to get our students bus drivers faster and to be able to get the training complete in our district much quicker than it is right now. And we know that Crowder's an excellent partner in doing that, and they're doing that all throughout Southwest Missouri for people. Second, raise training pay when drivers acquire their CDL permits and pass their S endorsement test. Third, offer training and bus driver wages to in-house employees. So our teachers, our coaches, you know, there are a lot of times where small teams who are out on the road, who are traveling, if we can offer that training to the coach or the individual who is traveling with that team, we know that we now have another bus driver to go somewhere else. We're freeing people up. So, and that also, for our employees now, that gives them an opportunity to earn additional money every month. Lastly, to develop a mentorship program for current and new bus drivers to provide support and retention. We know that the bus issue, kids aren't always at their best when they're on the bus. So we need to be in a situation where we're empowering and working alongside our bus drivers to give them the tools that they need in terms of professional development and the backing from our principals as well to be able to have a safe bus, a bus that everyone feels comfortable on, as well as something that's their work environment. Okay, the bus is their work environment, and we owe it to them as a district to give them a good working environment. So, what's that look like for continued recruitment? Currently, we have one trainer who's dedicated to recruiting. We're on Indeed, we're on Facebook, we're on Joplin Globe, Zimmer Radio, you name it. There's a lot of places out there that we are asking for bus drivers. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's lining up to take this job. And that's the sad reality of the situation, but unfortunately that's where, as a district, we are. So we know that we have to go above and beyond once we get those individuals into training and then out on the road to support them and to keep them and to retain them, because we want the very best right here in Joplin. And like I said, there's job fairs, there's a whole host of different ways to do that. And I'm really proud of our administrative team in terms of Mr. Harding, Dr. Saketa, everybody who's working over at Building and Transportation and Grounds, and everybody over there. It's an all hands on deck effort. And like I said earlier, you have bore the brunt of a lot of unfortunate anger. And it's not your fault, but you're the frontline workers, and it's our job to empower and support you in what you're doing. So here, you heard it here, it's a top priority for this board. No one here believes that it's acceptable to have kids who are missing instructional time, but I do know that we have a great plan in place moving forward, and we're going to recruit, retain, and develop some of the best bus drivers here in Southwest Missouri. And I could go into a lot of things in terms of what this looks like for Joplin schools, why we have certain unique issues in Joplin versus other areas whose schools are maybe more consolidated. We still have a significant number of community and neighborhood schools, and we're in one right now. That means that there's a lot of buses going a lot of places. So, like I said, my hat's off to all the people who coordinate those things. So on behalf of the board, we appreciate you. Okay, next item on the list, we have our policy committee report. I was unable to be at the policy committee last meeting. I brought myself up to speed, but Matt and Veronica, if you could give us an update on that, I'd be appreciative.
Sure. We looked at a few different policies. First of all, BBBA, board member qualifications. The big change there coming from state statute is that in order to run for the board, you have to reside within the district for 1 year before election or appointment. BBF, school board ethics, really just adopted new language on how to conduct ourselves as board members, but it says a lot of the same things that we already had in our policy. Not a huge change, just different language. So, policies IGBCA and IGBE, students in foster care, programs for homeless students. The big change in both of these is to allow for a second point of contact for those groups of students. And then policy GDL, support staff development opportunities. This change allows supervisors to set department goals for support staff development.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Sherrick. The superintendent data's report, the strategic focus, Dr. Saketa.
Data committee.
It's not on our list.
Offer a few comments on that. We had the meeting last week. Sarah and her team put that together. As usual, reams of information, so I'll just cover the highlights from the district. So first of all, we have about 7,540 students again this year, which is about flat with what it's been most of the last decade. So we're staying right in that 7,500 range. We do have 1,203 special needs kids, and so that's something where we're a little different than the districts around us, because we have a lot of the the facilities and the staff to support those programs. So disproportionately, we have a larger percentage of that than I think any other district around here by like far and away. It's not even close. A couple other things I'd share is, and I learned this one, I didn't realize we had 24 different languages being spoken throughout our school district, so that was an aha moment. I would have thought there'd been like 2. So I learned something there, 24, which has its own challenges, obviously. We do have almost 80% of our students on a free reduced lunch program, so that's something that should register with everybody. We have 422 homeless students within our district, which also presents a tremendous amount of challenges. I can only imagine at that. So those are a couple of high-level ones. Our virtual students, it had a high during the COVID year of 1,317 students. We're down to 157 this year, so I think that's a great trend. From every teacher that I talk to, they believe that the students in the classroom actually works better from a learning perspective, so great to see that. And then I'll touch on the grades for just a second here. So in our kindergarten group, one of the things that we are really focused on is phonics and reading. There's belief out there that if students can read, then they can grasp other subjects and continue to progress through their education, which I wholeheartedly agree with. Being a parent of 34 years and 4 daughters, I understand that. I think that's great. So what was really positive was we were at 74.6% on our kindergartners last year, and then take a pretest when they get into first grade, and they're at 74.1%. So that's telling us is that our kids are learning, they're reading, and they're retaining. That's important because over the summer, sometimes you see those scores dip. So that's great to see that progress. On the elementary level, you are seeing the spring to fall reading and math are both going up. The math went up from 26 to 38, and the reading went up from 34 to 41. So again, it's showing us good progress in the early grades, which are very foundational as our kids progress through the grades. In our middle schools, which is 6th, 7th, and 8th, a couple of things that I look at the high and the low on this. So in math, we have 30% of our students are below proficiency, but we have 38% that are proficient. So we have kind of the two ends there. On the reading side, only 15% are below, 40% are proficient. So I think good progress there. Science, 18% are below proficiency and 43% are at proficiency. So again, we kind of have the two ends of the spectrum. Nice to see that the proficiency group is growing each year. I think that's excellent. And then in our high school, we do a pre-test at the beginning of the year, and as Sarah's explained to us, that's so we kind of get a benchmark for where everybody's at the beginning of the year, and then we'll test them again at the end of the year. So just a couple of things I'll call out. 56% of our students are proficient in citizenship. I thought that was great. I'd love to see 100%, but 56%, that's great. On the reading side, we're at a 55% overall. And then math is the one that we're a little bit low on. We're at 33 to 39% in math throughout all of the math courses in high school. So that's the pre, so that's kind of our baseline, and then we'll talk again about it in the spring and see where we're at. But overall, I would say once again is we're seeing good progress through those early grades especially, as I think that the phonics and reading programs are really taking root, and you're seeing that move across the grades now, because I think this is the 3rd year we've been doing this, so you're seeing it in K1, 2, 3 now. So if we can keep building on that, I'm very optimistic on our forward progress with our students. And another thing I'll call out is that standardization of curriculum that's been done now is a big thing. We do have a district where we have over 30% of the kids moving around within district or in and out of district. So to teach the same class at the same grade, no matter what school you're in, is huge, because a kid can then just switch classes and pick right back up where they are, instead of before they were off a little bit, which creates a whole other set of challenges. So hats off to administration and our teachers for having that all aligned. I think that's one of those, it's a simple thought, but you probably wouldn't think about it if you're just at your school. That has to be a district-wide thing. So all credit in the world goes to the group there for their work on that. And that's it, unless there's any questions.
Very good. Very thorough. Thank you. Thank you both for the reports there from the board. This month's superintendent's data report will be about summer school, and Dr. Mwangi will lead us off.
Yes, and I'm going to have Mrs. Katie Boer come on up. She was our summer school director, and so she is just going to share some highlights from summer school and give you a few extra data facts.
Sarah, did you get her to volunteer for next year already?
Well, I think she has a slide for that at the end. We have an improvement that we're going to do.
Good evening. I am Katie Boer. I'm principal at Soaring Heights Elementary. So this past summer, I had the pleasure of serving as the summer school director for the district. It was a wonderful experience, got to work with a lot of really great people. And tonight, I'd just like to share with you some of the goals that we set and how we worked to accomplish those. So we strive, all educators in Joplin, we strive for excellence in programming. We want all of our students to have access to the most impactful educational experiences. And in order to achieve that, we have to look and analyze what we're doing. We have to set goals for improvement, and then we have to circle back around again, and we have to see what worked and what did not work. So tonight, I will share with you some of the goals that we set for our summer 23, and then talk a little bit about some ideas we have for summer 24. So as a team, we got together and set a lot of goals for improvement. We wanted to focus on increasing enrollment and attendance. We also wanted to make sure that all students, no matter what attendance zone that they participate in, received equitable experiences, students and staff both. We had goals for increasing parent communication. We wanted to improve efficiency of staffing. We believe in being good stewards of our taxpayer dollars. We also wanted to improve efficiency of our special education programming and transportation to ensure that our students had the best programming that they could access. And then we also wanted to improve the efficiency and reduce waste in our supply ordering. So one of our first goals was increase enrollment. So as you can see on the board, we have our numbers from 22 versus our numbers from 23. So we worked together to do a big push and help inform students and staff and families about the amazing experiences that they would have in summer programming, and that goal was achieved with increased enrollment. We also worked hard to increase attendance. So it's one thing to have students sign up for summer school, but it's another to have them stay the entire 20-some days. And so as you can see, comparison from 22 to 23 with our increases, that was a success as well. We still have more work to do, of course, but we did make progress in that area. It was really important to our team that we have equitable experience for students and staff. We wanted every kid in Joplin to have an amazing summer experience. And so we worked together to norm some practices in each attendance center, and those are listed on the board there, to make sure that students were engaging in some academic learning, but also working on building those soft skills that are so important to our student success now and then in the future as well. We achieved that by having challenges, teamwork opportunities, and a lot of really cool field trips and camps for each of our students to participate in. Another very important goal was to improve parent communication. So some feedback that I received as a summer school principal regarding parent communication, we put our heads together and we were able to come up with some consistent parent communication K through 8 distributed to all students in the district. We also provided lots of ample time ahead of time for field trips for parents, and then we offered an open house at the elementary setting this year. You know, something that we need to keep in mind is that with attendance zones for summer school, some of our students are coming to summer school in a school they've never been inside of, and their families haven't had an opportunity to put a face with a name or to see the building. And so we offer that for families. We had a really great turnout this year, and we even had some interest from middle school families to do the same for next year, so that's definitely something that we'll consider. Improvement of staffing efficiency was important to us as we considered being good stewards of taxpayer dollars, and so we increased our counselor. We used to have a counseling position. We increased that to a full-time building aide to make sure that students had support for the duration of the school day. We also analyzed very closely staffing to see if there were areas that we could cut and then areas that we could improve as well. We also invested very heavily in collaborating with our special education department to make sure that our students that receive special services had the most efficient experience and access to the absolute best programs. We are still in the process of debriefing with teachers on the pros and cons of the things that we tried this last summer, and then looking forward to making additional improvements next year as well. Improving efficiency and reduced waste of supply ordering was a big rock that we invested in this year. We had big ideas. We tried those ideas. Some of the process of improvement, you discover what doesn't work, and so we put forth our best effort to do a great job with that. We muddled through it, and then now we know we need to try another way. So we're all giggling because we tried and it wasn't perfect, but we'll do better next year. So we pulled together several stakeholders. We got insight from teachers and students and talked to some parents, and we came up with an adjusted summer timeline for looking ahead to summer 24 because we want to continue to improve and offer the best programming that we can. And so we've proposed to our leaders here some ways that we can change a little bit of the timeline so that, you know, one of the greatest gifts we can give teachers is time to plan, and that includes summer school director and everybody else that's involved too. So we want to get the ball rolling earlier. We still have passion and excitement for the summer, and we know it feels like a really long time away, but the sooner we can get started on that process, the better programming we can offer for our students and for families. So we would like to move that timeline up this year to keep that steam going on that.
So as wild as it seems, expect next month to hire a summer school director.
Yes. We also considered, we want to support our teachers. We talk about extra time for teachers and extra time for secretaries. So we also considered what are some ways we can look at the calendar to best meet the needs of students and families, but also to consider the needs of teachers as well. And we all know with the year starting later that sometimes there's not a lot of time between end of year and beginning of summer school. So we're considering what are ways we can support both families and staff in those ways. So with that, we look forward to summer 24. We're always trying to improve, open to ideas and suggestions, and we thank you for giving us an opportunity to serve Joplin's Eagles throughout the month of June.
Thank you, Ms. Brewer.
Thank you, Katie.
So I have one question, Katie, before you leave.
Yes, sir.
I remember last year after summer school, we did kind of a recap on progress in various grades and proficiency and the rest. Is that coming at a later meeting to kind of recap that?
Yes, so with our booster bundles, so we still did our booster bundles. We had a little skewed data in how some of those assessments were administered. So we're still in the process of cleaning those up. Hopefully next month I will have some data points for you.
Okay,
So
and I bring it up because I know last year it showed some great progress over the summer, so I was curious to see if that continued year over year.
Yes, the booster bundle updated, and so what happened is we had some teachers give assessment A and some teachers give assessment B. So we're trying to find the happy medium to give an accurate representation.
Yeah, so whatever it is, then you'll recap it at a future meeting.
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Shelley Toft will give our health and dental plan update and financial statements.
Yes, okay, for the health and dental, the first 2 months into our fiscal year, we spent $1,656,636, which is about almost 22% of our total budget. It's an increase over the prior year of 15% in this 2-month time frame. Some of the increase is due to several claims that are over our stop loss in the amount of a little over $177,000. So we actually have received reimbursement for those during the month of September, which is not represented in your report tonight. But and what we're continuing to see, is our prescription claims are extremely high, and Jamie talked about that when she was here. That we have several cancer drugs are being administered through prescription versus hospital stays as they had been in the past. So that's where we're seeing that.
I believe that's a change in the whole market as a whole, not just with schools.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And we also received in the month of September, or kind of looking at future revenues, we know that we also proposed and we instituted an increase in our cost for insurance for the district, additional $30 for every employee covered under the medical insurance, and also then the employee is picking up an additional like 8% of that. So that's kind of projected to be an additional $41,600 per month, or around $499,000 for the year. So that will help and September is the first month that we start collecting for our October plan year begins. So we'll see a little bit of that next month. And also, we've received an Optum prescription rebate this year. It didn't come in until September, where last year we saw that in the month of July. So that was $175,000, so that's a little bit of that difference as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Okay, then moving on to the financial statements. If we look at our condensed financial statement, which is on page 4, you'll see that we've received 15% of our revenue compared to last year of 7%, and I discussed that a little bit last month because we did get the ESSER money that came in July. They're just showing up under the federal, which was $6.6 million. And then, but if you look at our expenditures, they are 10.87%, which is very similar to the prior year as far as expenditures are going. One thing I did want to point out on the balance sheet, we did our debt service fund. Normally 10 months out of the year we have to, if we're part of MOHEFA, which most of our bond payments are except for the 21 bond, they do a Missouri redirect through, like part of our basic formula that comes from the state is just directed right over to the BOK to pay our bond payments. And so that happens 10 months out of the year, and we don't do that in the month of October and November because those are usually when cash is starting normally to get low, waiting for our local tax money to start coming in December. But I did not do the transfer from the debt service. I had some money invested, and I chose to go ahead and invest that in July out for 90 days to make additional interest money on that because you just have to cover it by the end of the fiscal year. So we've got time to do that. So I went ahead and invested that in most of it, but we'll start collecting that soon. So I just wanted to bring that about because that's not something that's normally on the balance sheet.
So by making that shrewd move, what does that equate to in dollars?
That was $9,000 of interest, so.
Well done, thank you.
Yeah. So, any other questions on financials?
Thank you so much, Ms. Toft. Mrs. Worsler, are there any public comments this evening? No. I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Hurd, a second by Mrs. Schroeder to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any additional comments? Hearing none, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. Our regular agenda, accounts payable, Mrs. Toft.
Okay, our bill list tonight is $8,342,892.62. Sorry about that. Compared to prior year, it's $10,794,727. In the prior year, we did have a Crossland bill that went through for $1.3 million, so that's the biggest difference there. Any questions?
Make a motion with fair bills.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Weaver, a second by Mrs. Sherrick to approve the accounts payable as presented. Any additional comments? Hearing none, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. First reading of policies.
Yes, the policies we have tonight that Ms. Sherrick discussed earlier, board qualifications, school board ethics, program for homeless students, changes in designee, as well as student and foster care, and then support staff development opportunities for classified staff. Are there any questions that anybody has that we'd like to ask pertaining to the policies?
I'd entertain a motion to approve these policies for first reading approval as noted in the supporting documents in our board packet.
So moved.
A second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Schroeder, a second by Mr. Robertson to approve the first reading as noted in the board supporting documents. Any additional comments? Hearing none, please vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, plus deltas.
I have a plus right now I would like to discuss. We had a few questions from a few folks and a couple board members recently about MOSO caps. And as you know, the board approved MOSO caps last spring. And we have 10 students that are enrolled in MOSO CAPS as we speak right now. They're doing well, and they're just getting ready to start very soon their work at the industry or the business or whomever that they've chosen. So Dr. Mwangi and I are going to wait till they've been at those businesses or institutions for several weeks so that we can sit down with them in a little time at the high school and talk to them about their experience, get a little better handle on how it's going for them, and then sit down and talk about how that we can market the opportunities for students going into next year earlier on with Dr. Oliver and his counseling team as well. And so we're excited about the program. I talked to one of the ladies that's on one of our committees here recently, and she doesn't happen to have at one of the hospitals, she doesn't happen to have one of our students, but she has a student from another district, and she is excited herself about the program, but we're anxious to talk to the high school students with Dr. Oliver later to give them a little time and hear more about how they're doing, and hopefully all things are well, and we're excited about their progress.
Any additional pluses for our meeting?
I would like to say, Principal Faircloth, thank you for the tour and the history. I thought it was really interesting, and I love seeing the pride that you have in your school. It's great.
Anything else? Lastly, once again, thank you to everybody who made tonight happen. We're very appreciative of the hard work that you've put in to hosting us in your building. So thank you again. Any deltas?
Hey, just one more on a positive I wanted to mention is, you called it out at the beginning, but the fact that we had 1,000 kids attend a school dance, I don't think I've heard us crack the 1,000 number ever, as long as I've been around the school, so I think that's fabulous. Also, the way you did the senior sunrise, I thought that was great. Love the pictures that got out there. It was great to see the turnout and the kids, coming in for that last big senior sunrise deal. I thought that was great, so just wanted to call that out. It wasn't in the meeting here, but it's certainly worth calling out. If you haven't seen the pictures, I know they're out there on Facebook, and you can look at them, but it looks great.
Yeah, and one of the pictures too showed Dr. Oliver and some of the students, and it's a really good time for everyone involved, the staff and the students, because they just get to enjoy a morning together. Right? You don't got to worry, there's not as much stress as in a normal school day, so everyone just kind of gets to have something to donate food and drinks and just relax a little bit, just before a busy school day. So it's always a great time. We do senior sunset too at the end of the year. So senior sunset is when we watch the sunset, or at least enjoy a nice evening, right, with some different activities, but similarly nice. And we'll probably have some celebrations on that later in the year too. So
very good.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Hurd, a second by Mr. Robertson to adjourn the meeting. Please vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.